I guess I can just go through their divisions real quick. Not gonna bother to double check, because I know for example, Edbro is Bronze 1 in solo queue, although he mostly plays on EU NE, so I think he's Silver 3 in that. But we've got Silver 1, Kallio is Plat 1, we've got Plat 5 and Silver 3. So Silvers and Plats mostly. Over here we've got Platinum 1, Kieji, we've got Silver 1 Parvin, Silver 1 Limas, Silver 4 Ari Leo, and Coop is Gold 5. So PB&J is more centralized, whereas Team 11 is more kind of split up. Oh, Edbro's Silver 1, EU NE. Anyway, we'll see what gets banned and what gets picked. Pretty sure the DC thing is just a spectator bug.
They all go away at the same time, so it just about has to be. Interesting not seeing any of the mid bans for once so far.
Yeah, they're just banning strong things, probably just things they've seen the other team pick. The hookers are both gone. No hooking will be allowed.
They can still pick Nautilus.
True. Guess there's one left.
Ban Nautilus, do it.
But Ari's a solid ban. She's just a mid laner you can pick into anything. And Team 11 likes playing Ari and used her last game. About the Kassadin, so that you can't first pick Kassadin or counter pick with Kassadin. And overall, just kind of decent ban. But not really focused on anything. And PB&J doesn't really feel like there's any OP champs they need to pick up, so they grab their support, which is always a really solid choice. Doesn't really give much about your strategy. Whereas on the other side, Team 11 is going full out with their probably jungler. And someone else. I was gonna say top lane, but then they switched away from everyone. Zed is open, if people want to play him, but they just go with the Shen. So that's probably top and jungle, with top lane Shen, jungle Jarvan. They're probably gonna have to swap, because I know Kallio plays mid mostly. But Shen's a solid choice, especially when you're in a team, because you can tell your team, hey, I'm going to ult you, go in. Or you can say, hey, Shen ult me. Really hard to play against too.
Their bot lane's going to have excessive poke, and that will be very annoying.
Yeah, Ezreal Sona, it's annoying to play against, because they can just always hit you.
It is interesting that they took the time to ban out Blitzcrank if they were going to play Ezreal anyway, though.
The way I see it, blitz bans usually just mean that they'd rather have some insurance for the bot lane. Because while you can expect your bot lane to outplay blitz, it's like you're rolling a die a lot of the time. And like, maybe you get unlucky this day and blitz just gets pulls and then the bot lane's over. And a Jace, which is really surprising. He's not been that popular. I know Dade has played him a little bit, but for the most part, he's just kind of fallen out of favor with tier nerfs.
I think I saw him in the Korean WCG. I don't remember.
Yeah, he's still usable. But I'm curious if he's going to go top or mid.
That is interesting.
Soraka.
With a grave?
I've seen more Soraka recently. It actually makes sense to an extent. Like, you don't... It's not the all-in style that Graves, Leona, or something would do, but it's the spam your Q all day. But it looks like they're going Nami instead.
I think Nami's the better pick.
So
Especially
they'll have
because
some sustain, they'll have some ability to go in.
they'll have good synergy with her ult, Jarvan's ult, and Shin's taunt there.
Yeah, they've got quite a lot of CC on their team, which is pretty nice. Because Jace has a slow and knockback, but not too much else. But then they pick up Vi, so they can kill anyone they want, generally.
Nidalee, their poke is brutal.
It looks like they're playing a poke team, because Nidalee, Jace, Ezreal, like, they just want to hit you from a billion range away. And Vi's actually really nice in poke teams. Like, the one thing all poke teams need, I feel, is some way to capitalize on getting the opponents low. So you'll generally see someone like a Jarvan, like I've seen a Mumu on poke teams a lot. And Vi's also good, because when you get those 2 or 3 Nidalee spears on someone, you just Vi ult in, and the enemy team can't win that fight.
It is interesting that we see 2 exhausts still there.
Yeah, he might just be... I don't know. That changed it.
Oh, there. Yeah, Ignite.
Nunu would be a really weird pick, so I don't think they're going Nunu. Because they...
Would it be AP Nunu mid?
If they pick Nunu, I would expect it to be a Jarvan mid, because Nunu mid just doesn't make sense.
AP Nami is gonna happen. It's gonna be a Nunu support.
I guess we'll find out, because they went for the Nunu. And I want to point out, they just have a really tanky team. Like, Nunu gets tanky, Graves is naturally tanky, Jarvan's tanky, Shen's tanky, and Shen makes anyone on his team even tankier. Oh! What that probably meant, that probably means Nunu was a placeholder pick, or something else to that effect.
Are they forced to basically pick the same things now?
Okay, so Nunu is not Nunu. Nunu is LeBlanc. Which is pretty interesting. I mean, it's a decently safe pick for mid because Nidalee isn't very great at pushing really hard. Although Nidalee could go top in this case, which would be trouble for LeBlanc. But yeah, so all that was just Nunu was picked because their last pick at the time doesn't own LeBlanc. And so they just pick someone else. And then normally you say, when you pick it, this is a placeholder, but since it was the last pick, he just dropped out so that they could redo the picks and bans. But they're just going to pick the same teams.
That definitely makes a lot more sense than the Nunu.
Yeah, I was confused with that Nunu. I was like, that's interesting. LeBlanc's a really cool pick. Like, she's fun to watch.
The poke comp's gonna have to be very careful there if they ever overextend.
Yeah, I was thinking they'd go for something that could catch someone out. But I was thinking more in terms of CC, in terms of kill that person. But they went with that idea instead. Yeah, they have to be really careful against LeBlanc then. Especially since they don't have very many ways to lock her down if she goes in. Like, if LeBlanc goes in, your responses are Vi ult and Sona ult. And nothing else stops her from getting her combo off and kills her afterwards.
I guess Jace could knock her back if that would do anything. It won't lock her down.
Yeah, like, Jace can knock you back, but then it's like, oh, I'm not in your team anymore, I'm fine. Unless you do, like, the flash knockback into the team. But even then, that doesn't stun her, so she still kills whoever she wants. And you just used a flash. Yeah, that is something to point out how CC light PB&J is. Whereas Team 11, every single person on their team has some form of CC.
Does spectator mode not show trades?
It does, I believe. Why?
I was just wondering if it was actually. I was
They
wondering if the Ezreal and the Nidalee were switching because of the summoners, but I guess it is just playing safe with the barrier. That makes sense against LeBlanc, I guess.
Yeah, when I played Nidalee mid, which I expect this to be at this point, so whenever I play Nidalee mid, I'm rarely in range to get an ignite on. So generally barrier or teleport or something is really nice. Yeah, I like Team 11's team a lot more than they did last game. Like last time, I felt like their strategy was to do something, and then they just completely flopped on that. And it wasn't necessarily that they just I don't know, it was just that they made some mistakes. And the enemy team kind of snowballed. Yeah, last game was pretty one-sided. Like, I feel like what they tried to do was to deal with the enemy mid being super good. And they didn't. Anyway, let's take a look at the skin war, because that's always the most interesting thing going on right now. We've got 3 skins up here for PB&J, but it's matched with 3 skins for Team 11. They're even. And while a lot of people like Pulsefire, I'm not the hugest fan, actually. So I'm going to give the skin war victory to Team 11.
I have to agree with that. His particles are annoying.